Should ask you on your side. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Clare Deal. I'm on here again, very gratefully on here again to share a beautiful trainee or beautiful woman that has previously done my soul activation training. So today I'm very, very excited to share the beautiful Sarah. Sarah Rickaby is a beautiful energy worker. She has a background of cranial sacral foundational work, was a cranial sacralist previously, and now is a phenomenal energy worker, has really started to align her work in that way. So I've worked with her personally and professionally, and can highly recommend her work. If you're looking for someone in that realm, you'll be able to feel her as she shares herself. So hello, Sarah. Right. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to share this time with you and to have a conversation with you about your experience in the trainings that I've offered. You've really had an eclectic mix of flavors of all that I offer. So I really am very, very grateful that you share, because you've got that holistic view of how it can support you and how it impacts you, and everything else in between. So if it's okay, I might ask you, what drew you towards doing that training, the soul activation training level 1? What was your pull, or what was going on for you in that time in your life?
When we did level 1 in 2020.
Yeah.
And then I went and did level 2 in 2021.
Yeah.
But I'd actually done a mentorship with you in 2019.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was the 6-month mentoring.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was fantastic. But when the soul activation training was offered, that was really appealing, because I liked that feeling of that condensed 1 month.
Yeah.
Dive in and intensive. Yeah,
it was intensive. It was, it's I had this conversation with another trainer yesterday, and I said it's gone from 6 weeks to 3 months now. So I've made it. I've learned a lot since since doing it with you guys, that I wanted it to be more expanded, but not like going forever, but just still a nice concise amount of time. Yeah.
Was it 6 weeks?
6 weeks. Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd been doing craniosacral for many years, and I'd sort of realized I hadn't, I'd grown out of it in a way, and the energetic part of me was really coming alive. And so I sort of really stepped more into the energetics and was ready for some new training, some more insights, some more, just to bring a bit more, learning and growing. Yeah. And what I love about working with you is there's no dogma.
Mm-hmm.
There's no set structure, and that worked perfectly. And I just think that's probably one of the things I love most, is that you adapt to the group. Yeah. I don't know how to do it any other way. So yeah, it is. Yeah, it's brilliant. And both times, level 1 and level 2, you had an idea of what might happen. Yeah. And then within 2 or 3 days, it was just like, no, we're going in this direction. And it happened both times. And I just think that's genius, because it's almost that biodynamic approach, which is how I work. Whereas I love that. No one will know what's going to happen until we're in. That's right. Right. You don't know. And you don't know until that inherent plan that's in everyone's body, wisdom, comes up to express, and then you run with that accordingly. Yeah. So that's really appealing. That was. Okay, I'm going to take that biodynamic process. I love that. Thank you. It's in my thanks. Yeah. It's completely biodynamic. There's no textbook. There's no course structure, and yet it's chock full of training, and it is structured. It is supportive. Your container, the whole holding is solid. Yeah, it's not via a structured preemptive form. Yeah. We haven't spoken about that much, actually, with the past ladies that I spoke to, but it is. I've spoken about the fact that it's individual and led by the energy of the group. It has strong foundations to it, but it's that thing of
my work, I've really had the awareness of, and I'd love your take on this, is really at its core to help people have trust of self.
Yes.
Knowing of self.
Yes.
So, you know, the first kind of test or the first marker of that is trusting the nudge to follow it, even if you don't know how it's going to play out. Do you know what I mean? Trust it, just like I'm getting a ping here, I'm going to follow that ping. And that's a huge thing for a lot of people to do. I know for myself, I'm sure with you too, I shouldn't be sure, but I would say yes.
Yeah, huge. Yeah, because even the groups were a mix of people there for their own personal development or professional development, which is what got me in, but essentially it's personal development.
Right. Yeah.
And so it is that leap of faith. And within that group structure, I was able to access really vulnerable parts.
Right. Right.
As is, and grow from that with the support of the group, with the support of you. Yeah. And we could have all been having different stories. But the way that it's set up and the way we all come together almost daily, wasn't it? It's daily. Yeah. It felt like a completely individual process within a really strong group process. Yeah. Like, that's amazing.
Well, it is, to me, it's that multifaceted approach. So it has the individual support of self, the group support, and then you have your trios and then support from me as well. So it's it touches on all. So whatever type of support you're wanting, you get the choice of what that is. But I really, and I just want to reflect back to you. It's just such an honor to witness. Genuinely, I'll get emotional. I'm like, I genuinely watching someone who's committed and really there. It's just such a powerful thing to be part of, whether you're got the hat of the teacher or another participant with you. That essence of watching someone do that is so activating and palpable and alchemizing for everyone as part of that. It's just priceless having someone like you in that space. So thank you for showing up in the way that you did. Just on a selfish note for me, thank you for doing that. And you know, it just is that ripple effect for everyone in the space. When people are on board, they're all in.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, and likewise, I had that experience from others who were showing up like that, and then some took a few weeks before they could or did. You know, but it was all perfect. There were so many layers of learning. In that group structure. It was amazing, and friendships made and bonds, and but that deep dive into it and then sort of come out the other side back to reality was just, it was priceless.
How did you find it when you came out the other side? Upon reflection, I know it was a while ago, what did you notice, if anything, whether it was straight after or, you know, as the integration happened, that had landed for you or changed for you or gifted you in that experience? Like, what can you,
good question. What's coming up? On a professional level, I noticed that the really deep parts of myself that took the most courage to go into, the most vulnerable, where I shifted and healed then, when I went back into sessions, I found that clients could access those parts of themselves more easily because I had. So it was that amazing thing, especially as a practitioner, that you do your personal work, and it's probably one of the most profound impacts of how you can work with others. So when they've come into my field and, you know, they can plug in as a resource, it's almost like their vulnerable parts can see subconsciously, oh my God, you went there, you did that, and it's safe. Okay. And so I found that was like, wow, it was really not only validating of the work that we had done together, but just that power of just really, it's about your own work. So, and I would say it would have shifted in personal relationships too, but that one in sessions is probably the most obvious memory I have.
I can feel that. I mean, it's back to that thing of your clients can only go as far as you can go. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
And learning anything is always valuable if it's aligned, be it esoteric or mainstream, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But you know, having that intellect and intelligence and those teachings over here without taking this part into the equation, it's you're going to be constantly imbalanced and dissatisfied in what you offer, because one, what are you doing what you're doing for, and do you feel yourself within what you're doing? Do you know what I mean? We're doing our work more than we're doing anything else in the world. So if we don't have that essence of ourselves there, people are just flatlining all the time, just not getting that sort of sense of self. As far as, I mean, yeah, okay. As far as bringing it back to your sense of self and confidence, did it impact that in any way, negatively, positively, or neutrally? Yeah, did you have any of that shift for you?
I would say so. I'm just trying to remember back.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And understanding myself a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah. And even how it integrated over time. Like, I just remember I wasn't ready to do level 2 for a year.
Yep.
And there was months later that I'd have a moment where I was like, oh, that was from the training. It could have been 9 months later.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, but I think with any kind of healing, it's the small signposts along the way where it becomes more obvious, like, I didn't react to that thing that I normally would react to. And so, yeah, I think for sure it has anchored me more and more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, for sure, confidence, but not in a really obvious way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more this. I don't see confidence as this big. I'm preaching. I know you know this about me. I don't see confidence as this kind of I'm out for the world to see. It's this sense of calming yourself and this sense of acceptance in self and letting yourself be who you are in whatever setting you are, because there's no externalized reliance upon others to affirm that you're worthy or you're good enough. There's this sense of, you know, your worthiness, you know, your place, and you know what you're good at, and you know all these things about yourself, and there's acceptance. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
And even the experience in the group format of watching, you know, how many people were there?
I think it's 12. I'm a lot. There's smaller groups now too. I've made
it was a bit bigger, our group, but watching everyone going through their own personal experiences and having the courage to.
14.
It was something like
The
that.
biggest group, yeah.
Yeah. The compassion for self and for others became even stronger. And, you know, that thing that everybody's going through something that you don't know about, but in that group thing you did know about it. And so I think that personal confidence can just quietly get stronger because you also witness in your compassion for others.
Yeah.
And so you almost more forgiveness for self.
That's right. Yeah.
From that as well. And I think that helps confidence.
Oh, that's such a bit. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. That's so valid, because it is that thing of, you think you're your own with your own demons, you know, your own stresses and your own pain, and you kind of think, I'm the only one. It's so we all do it. Just, I'm the only one doing this. And then you sit in a space like that. I always see that group as a big women's circle that we just sit in tent. We're sitting in a beautiful tent over this period of time and going there with each other and holding each other and going through all the levels and layers with each other. But when you hear someone be so vulnerable, it's just such an honor to witness and so heart-opening for you. It naturally occurs that you start to feel and honor yourself in a different way, on a different level.
Huge. Yeah. It's huge. And we know that part of healing is to be witnessed.
Yeah, 100%.
That in itself, in that group dynamic, it's like magnified.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. So that's that extra power compared to the one-on-one, which is so valuable with you. And we get the one-on-one with you in the group format.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Which is great. But I just also loved that as a practitioner, I feel it's really important to check yourself.
Yep.
And just to keep yourself accountable, making sure you haven't gone a bit skewed. Yeah, it's really invaluable. So it did feel a lot like mentoring.
Yeah. I would say it is. It's that mentoring and teaching. Yeah, it's definitely, and it's not mentoring from me. It's mentoring from self, and it's mentoring from the group as a whole, and the energy of the whole. And I mean, I love your work. To me, there's not many people I actually work with in a professional capacity as far as space being held for me. And one of the things I just revere so highly with you is that sense of safety, your ability to hold such a safe and sacred space. And I speak about this a lot in my work and trainings and one-on-one, and you would have heard me say it so many times around our sense of safety as we've known it to be and the sense of safety as it actually is are often two different things. And something I hold very dear to my heart, and I know you do with your work as well, is that sense of safety in group settings and with one-on-one work. And I know it's been reflected back to me, as I know it would have been to you, as how safe women have felt in the spaces that I hold. And I hold that, I would say probably at the top of my list is them feeling safe. And I feel like it shows, but did you feel that within, this is my experience of it, but I'm wondering with you.
Totally. And that would be my number one, the most important part of my work too. So yeah, it felt so safe, so held. There was not even a glimmer of a leak or and also not only are you constantly checking that, but you're imparting that kind of wisdom that we were also checking our field, Yeah, it is paramount. Our nervous systems are hardwired for safety and trust. And they have to have safety and trust to be able to evolve in a healthy way. Any practitioner, it has to be the absolute most important foundation of any space you hold. It's non-negotiable. And the safer and the reason that we can go in so deeply in those trainings with you is because the field is so safe, so held. Because without that, you just can't go there.
No, we're so similar. We're so aligned, and that was what's definitely in our core values, that sense of safety and rediscovering of what safety is. You know what I mean? Because we have conditioned safety, and then we have actual safety. And I myself have had my own experience with that, and I'm still unpacking that as I go. Whenever a complete product or finished product, as it were, and there's always things.
Lifelong practice.
Yeah, it is.
Lifelong practice.
Yeah.
But it's so safe, so safe. Yeah. And even, because it is a training where things will come up, and you really, your read is so incredibly spot on and strong that if, you're always checking in personally with anybody who might need it, you're not just cruising along, you're so involved. I don't even know where you pull it out from half the time. It's extraordinary. So that's that amazing thing that it feels like the most personal experience at the same time as being part of a group. So that
thank you for that. I know I'm not saying it to be conceited. I do know it's one of my strengths, and I actually don't know how I do it. And I don't have that from a place of you should be concerned that I don't know how I do it. I've done it long enough now to sit comfortably in it, but not be bluffed or kind of egotistical about it either. Just assured in my abilities with that, and I feel safe within it in doing that, and that's felt by those that I hold space for as well. Which I've seen it time and time again. It never ceases to blow my mind how people, when that experience happens, how much they will naturally go to their edge and cross it, not because they have to or feel pushed, but because it's a naturally occurring evolution of self.
Yeah, totally. You hold an extraordinary space. I've described you to you before. It's almost like you're a library, and you can just pull out whatever's needed from which lends to the spontaneous sort of fluid nature of the way it moves. But it also means that in challenging moments or, you know, really deep moments, you just can pull what's needed.
Yeah.
Even in the light moments too, the humor and the, you know, but it's, you know, it's, I don't know if there was ever a question asked that you couldn't draw in an answer, or or even working with trauma, I think is another strong laneway for you. You hold incredible space for trauma to be processed.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, I think trauma informed practitioners are essential.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's not like we're not getting out of jail, you know, we're not getting out of here without some kind of trauma. It's an intricate part of the human experience, but you could say, unfortunately, or I just say it more as that's the way life is now, is that trauma is innately part of the human process, be it good or bad, depending on how you view it.
Yeah.
But the way, you know, sorry, you go. Yeah.
No, well, we're in a time as well where everything that was swept under the rug generationally and otherwise is coming up. And so we are really in a, let's bring everything up. So it's a unique period of time where we're putting a lens on trauma in a way that hasn't been before.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly. Yeah. It's not just the fact of what we're living in. It's actually the energetic, it's the perfect storm, but not in a way, oh, this is the storm, we're being blown apart, we're being blown open.
Yeah.
So that we can process and navigate it from that way. Do you know what I mean? And in that is, we can either fall to pieces and pick up and stay there, or we can fall to pieces and then discover and reclaim ourselves in that way, which is, I see it time and time again. And it's just, I know you get this whole, you so get it, witnessing people do it. It never ceases to amaze me. I'm blown away all of the time how the human spirit is just so powerful. Like,
totally. I think it's a good point to also mention that in this age where there are a lot of us doing a lot of personal work, that sometimes you can forget about an integrating period.
Yeah.
So the beautiful part of working deeply with you in that, you know, 6 weeks was then to gift space for it to land, for it to integrate, for it to be felt and then embodied.
Very much.
And so it's so important not to go from one thing to the other
Yeah.
And gift the space to really feel what's just been. Yeah.
And I will say to anyone that's even thinking about coming to do it, I will only work with people that aren't doing something else at the same time, not because I think it's the be all and end all, but because then they understand what's happening and why it's happening and can actually navigate it. We're so used to more, where I really work from the place is less, and really refine and come back to that, and that time, that luxury of space. And it really is put down into luxury. Not many people afford themselves the time or space to actually see what's happened, how it's happening. And I know with you, and I've had it with so many trainees, year to years down the track, they're contacting me going, it's still landing, it's still like it just landed for me. And that's the way it's supposed to be. But it's
totally. I've had that experience. Totally. It's it just keeps landing.
For me too.
All these memories come up, but it's amazing. It's really, I don't know, it was a gift. It was a gift to deep dive. And I trust you as a practitioner. I trust you as a mentor. Your work is impeccable, and your integrity. I also love bringing into the integrity and the discernment factor. It's an incredible opportunity to really hone energy discernment, energy integrity, by way of not only yourself, but working with in that group dynamic, because that's a really huge life skill that it's profound.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's definitely, and I don't know how much I speak on this, because, you know, when you just do something innately, you don't even think to speak in it. But I'm pretty sure I have said these words, is energy is our first language. And my work sits in the place of helping you reclaim your language, your innate language, your original language. and feel informed and empowered in that. And so that, you know, so quite often we can be in a conversation and hear the words but not see the rest because we don't trust what we're seeing. So this work actually comes in to help that part to come online, so you have the wider view and the wider sense and the wider knowing and trust of yourself within that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, thank you for peeking that in me, because it's just, you just know stuff and you don't think much of it, you don't speak on it. So
huge. And that's where working with energy, because energy can have such a woo-woo connotation, but working with energy can be incredibly grounding and enhance the human experience.
very much.
And there's for sure practitioners who are really up and out there and all of that stuff, and that's all great and fine, but we're having a human experience.
Yeah.
And so I find that working with you enhances that.
Yeah. It's the whole. I really take the whole into account. Yeah.
So but we're energy first, physical
Second. Second.
So I mean,
yep.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like, I don't know if you had that feeling. I still do. Years down the track, I still feel like a kid in a candy store at certain times. I'm kind of like, but wait, there's more. Like, and that's for me in professional. That's for me in my own personal, intimate relationship with myself. And like, you're just kind of like constantly. There's so much more to learn and remember and unlearn. That this is, for me, would be part of the starting point or reset point, that you just take the ball and run with it. However you wish to, you know, however you feel inclined to. It's not rigid or set. You have to go out and do like this with it. You feel into it, you discover your own individual way, and then off you go.
And it changes, and it's I love with groups, and it's with any kind of group that you work with, it's there's always a theme between all of the people who've come together. And so we all had similar wounding, similar themes, all completely different humans with completely different stories, but there was a base commonality. And both times I worked with you in the soul activation trainings, they were because the light went on, it went ding, this is the intake that I'm going into.
You go to that one. That's right.
And that's not an accident too. So it's really important, if you do feel, if anyone wants to work with Clare in this way, which I highly recommend.
Yeah, thank you.
Wait for the light to go on.
Yeah.
Impulse and just trust it and go for it, because it's already known before you know that you'll be part of that group.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. And I mean, I have people apply not just to kind of go, no, you can't come, you can. But that's very much part of it. Is I'll feel the energy of, oh, you're aligned with the energy of this particular offering at this particular time. I won't necessarily have that, oh, they've all got this wounding. That's a part of my own discovery in the process too. But that never ceases to amaze me either, because you're kind of like, oh, you've all got that going on, and for such different reasons often. Like, you just go, wow, but that story and that wound and that process is all the same. So then we unpack that together.
Yeah, it's really cool. And that's where the awe as well lies, because we think we're controlling it, and it's just like that like blows your mind that 12 strangers have come together, and it was like you were the perfect combination.
Right.
It's really cool.
I can feel it and see it now. It's so it's been so interesting for me having these conversations, because it's like going down memory lane, and so much happens in such, if you look at it linear time, so much happens in such a short space in time, but it's so quantum field time, because it feels like months, years sometimes, in a really short amount of time, because the amount of work, not because it's forced, it just naturally occurs, is mind-boggling. For me, it's witnessing, you know.
And I remember also going into it and sort of letting my friends and family know that I wasn't going to be as available. When you go in that intensively, it was just like, I'm going all in, so like I'll see you on the other side. And I just gifted myself that permission to you know, dip out of something else to really be there. And so I think that's a nice thing to sort of be aware of too.
To dive in, because you'll come out and you'll be there for your family, you'll be there for your friends, and you will be during the time too, but just really, that's back to that space. Give yourself space, really make the most of it, really be all in, and you'll reap the benefits. For me, witnessing you, and I know that happened for you, is when you're all in, you'll reap the benefits. Like it's a given.
Yeah.
I'm committed to be all in. And that's what I ask of those that join me too, is to be committed, be here now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
So I feel like there'll be people will really get a feel for not just this, but it's just a beautiful conversation. I think it touches on so many other points of many other things. So whether you join training with me or you just enjoy this conversation, thank you for joining us. And thank you, Sarah, for sharing your beautiful heart as you always do.
Thank you. And thank you for all you do and all you offer. And I can't recommend working with you highly enough.
Thank you. Mutual. Feelings mutual. Yeah. All right. Thanks.